which is when my partner plays with a tight elbow, because let's say he wouldn't want to, like, especially when we're feeling away, he doesn't want me to keep this. I don't think I can keep this for very long, but he's going to bring his elbow close to the body. And when I find that this happens, this is a nice opportunity for me to force him to take a step. Because he's giving this kind of pulling and reaction where he's keeping his elbow tight, I find that, okay, so if he doesn't want his elbow to move, he's going to take a step forward, right? Just now, so when I did pull, but he didn't want to step forward, his elbow would come away. And this is when we have a lot of freedom with what we can do to move. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But when he keeps his elbow tight, he steps forward. This is often a reaction you're going to get. Obviously, people will step forward even when you don't have a wrist grip, but this is a really nice way to, not necessarily force, but to make something happen in this regard. So something I'll do oftentimes is he strips, and I'm going to use this to pull and just get a step coming. And from here, I really like to hit this foot sweep where I'm basically, step back. As he steps forward and he keeps his elbow tight, right, I'm basically going to time his foot coming to the back and then hitting this step foot sweep. This is fairly, not the most high percentage thing, but it's very low risk, and it can do a good job of destabilizing your partner. And that can then lend itself well to a lot of other attacks, right? Because, let's say, once again, I'm trying to chain grips, okay, from here I'm going to pull. Even if this doesn't work, I time it poorly, then we can just go back to what we were doing earlier. If you want to go dummy sweep, you can go dummy sweep. Or if you get stuck, okay, fine, you can also just use this as a means to then go back into other attacks. It's not like you do this and then if you fail, it's the end of the world. But I do actually find myself doing this a fair bit. What I usually look to do when hitting this is when his foot comes off the mat, so just step slowly, I'm not trying to kick him the moment the foot comes off the mat. I'm waiting for the foot to plant, right? And so when he plants his foot, that's when I feel like I can kind of pull him a lot more. Obviously, this is a very much timing-based move, so I don't anticipate, like, if you have trouble hitting this, this is fine. Even if it just stumbles him a little bit, it will lend itself quite well to going into offense. And we can just change back into what we were doing earlier. Okay, this doesn't work, okay. I didn't hit him back, step out, and then we just go back to what we were doing earlier. However, you can also then use this to chain into other attacks. So just now, let's say his elbow was tight, we're going to do this. But if we go back to the original situation, but he switches his stance, right, we can't actually do what we're doing initially because now everything's kind of on the wrong side. So usually what I would do from here is one of two things, and that kind of depends on his hand position relative to my shoulder. His hand's low, I usually like looking for drags. And I'm still going to start looking to come up. You can go single legs, you can get to the waist. It really depends how you feel with your ability to come up off the mat. But it's very important that when you do this drag, I don't like to sit to my drag from here. I like to focus more on coming up myself. Where from here, he strips his stance changes. Okay, I'm going to come up myself. Relax. Heel out, heels retracting, I'm going to go with my knees. And I'm basically going to look for his front waist. This is in a situation where his hand's low. I'm here and his hand's not low, and then switch your stance. Right, his hand's high. This is when I find it's very easy for us to then get these high crotches. And then I usually like to set this up as like a duck. I'm pulling, I'm trying to get the hand down, his hand's high. Equal. I'm using this to kind of lift myself up. Go forward, and I'm switching my knees. I go from left knee down, right knee down. And then same thing. I'm going to be able to end up behind him, looking for the forward waist. So when he tries to turn to face me, it's becomes more difficult. I'm going to be able to follow up. Even if he does manage to turn to face, we can always just chain up into single legs, etc. This motion is going to be exactly the same as the stuff I like to hit, where there's also situations where we're going over a lot of situations now, but I'll try to get clear at the end of this period. But I just told him he pulls on my shoulder. This is also something I can happen. You can literally do the same thing here where you kind of get into the middle of the weight, and from here, move back. You're going to make sure there's tension out of this grip. I want him to commit into me, and then clear this, and then get here, right? This is like kind of duck under that I like to hit a fair bit. But it's essentially the same motion as this high punch we were going for, right? So, what are the situations? What am I doing? I was talking for 2-on-1, he strips the grip. His elbow's tight. We can force him to step with his foot sweep fails. We can go into the ankle pick like we went over earlier. Single leg. If we find that, okay, this fails, we don't really have this, he switches his stance, and things kind of change now, right? Or maybe he just wasn't in this stance to begin with. Maybe we're here to start off with, he strips the wrist, and then this is where we're playing from. His hand's high, and bicep, etc. And now this is an excellent spot for us to work from into our abs. Does that make sense? So, same situation, far wrist, elbow tight. We get in a step forward and have a sweep. If it fails, we can go into the second pick. Or if we have the same situation, but he switches stance, then we either have a drag or a high crotch. We're going to do the same high crotch. We can do it from the original situation, but instead of finding the wrist and post on our shoulder, we can do the same thing. Well, a third of the time with this, I know I went over a lot of variations fairly quickly, so if you have any issues, just let me know. Make sense? Any questions?
So, what is this?
Go for it. I enjoy it.
Open stance, lead leg matching your lead leg. You're looking drag. You're looking duck. If it's closed stance, then you can go coaching. Is that some good way?
Essentially, yeah. I think that's a good way to think about it. Because yeah, if I was here, and I think it's kind of close stance is the way to phrase it, right? Because we're very much this is like they call it like IOPS, if you do it like square to close stance. He switches it up. Right, then this is when it's either the arm or the leg, if I'm very much available to me for the purpose of wrestling up. Obviously, you figure yourself, okay, well, I want to do one all the time. Feel free. That makes sense? Yeah?
How do you like to finish your drag when you're in that super deep position?
Yeah. When I'm here, generally depending on his posture, he's like if he's really bent over, I feel like he can afford to get his hips further away from me. Right? He's gonna circle, it's gonna be a little bit more away. This is when I kind of tend to step outside and drop kind of sliding down. Versus he's more or less postured up. I'm very close to his hips. Notice when he bends down, his hips can actually get further away. Like get your hips further away. And I'll either use a knee drop, but you could also step on his foot to bring him forward. Those are the main ones.